Madam Vanita Datla, and our director, the director of the Institute of Public Enterprise, Professor Nithin Subramanian. Sir has joined us only about a month ago. May I request Prarthana to come over here and present a bouquet to Professor Nithin Subramanian. May I request Nidhi, come over, take a bouquet, and kindly hand it over to Rear Admiral Sanjay Chobe sir. And now may I call upon Shravya to present a bouquet to Madam Vanita Datla. It says over there that I have to say something about the program for about 4 or 5 minutes. So I shall do that, and after that we'll proceed to the next part of the program. My name is Narendranath, and I joined the Institute of Public Enterprise in the year 2011 when I was 60 years young. Now, when I joined the Institute, I realized that besides teaching, you have to do 1 or 2 other things. And they told me you have to organize programs, MDPs, and related things. Because if you see there's a photograph outside, it is written 7th National Conference. And it will be plain as the nose on your face that the building is in IPE. But what we did was, we had it for 2 days in a hotel and 1 day over here. Now this is the first year it is residential, totally residential. Now what happened is, every year we've been getting large number of people, but this year, when Professor Subramanian joined last month, on the day he spoke to my colleagues in this room, my friend Vikram and I, we went around some companies. We went to 5 companies. We went to NTPC, its neighbor Power Grid, in the neighborhood LIC's neighbor Singarini Collieries, and then a little away NMDC. Every official said, we will send our people only through this virtual mode and not physical mode. We had also written letters to hundreds of companies. And these people said, no, we can't have it in physical. Delhi says something, everything, we put the blame on Delhi. Then what happened? Surprisingly, and to our pleasant surprise and delight, we got a call from Punjab National Bank, and they said, will you hold it physical? I said, we want to hold it physical. Will you hold it only for our employees? We said, that's a bit difficult, because we wrote to 99 other companies. Then they agreed to send some employees, and that's how some of you are over here. The other thing is, in this program, maybe even my professor will talk to you about it, we have put up all sorts of topics based on the feedback we get, which means on the 3rd day we'll give you a feedback form, and please tell us what is it that you expected which is not there, and maybe we'll incorporate it in the next time. One other thing is there, and with that I'll sit down. For every program, right from the first program, initially they were skeptical whether women will come. And then right from the first program, I had a student from the first trimester, and that too a girl. And I said, look, you talk to the general manager, senior manager, branch manager, whatever be your designation. Designations don't count. Are you providing value for time? That's the key thing. Then somebody said, how can you ask first year students to talk to women? Every year we manage. This year we are having 3 students talking to you. And in order to recognize their, whatever they have done, we get the chief guest, we get the guest of honor, we get the director of the institute, and we get all the participants to sign in a book to be given to them on the 3rd day. This is the only small way I think I can help people and so on. So as far as the program is concerned, with 8 years experience, I can go on and on and on. The next part of the program is, we will light this thing. We will light the lamp. We will have a prayer. About the prayer, I'll tell you in a minute. Kindly help us out. Sir, madam. One of the participants also can join us. One of the participants, you are also welcome. Sir, kindly. Is there anything? Maybe here only.
You all have been words. No, that is why I'm saying. Please try.
Thank you. It's a mellifluous music, 30 seconds roughly. Kindly stand up once again, listen to it, and then we'll start the program. Thank you.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटे समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटे समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटे समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा
Thank you, and please be seated. Now, before Professor Nathan Subramanian gives his address, I request my colleague Dr. Sinju Shankar to introduce the director to the audience.
A very good morning to everyone present here. It's indeed my pleasure to introduce our beloved director of IPE to the August gathering here. Professor Nathan Subramanian assumed the role of the director, Institute of Public Enterprise, Hyderabad, less than a month ago. Professor Subramanian brings to the institute a rich and varied experience of more than 3 decades. Prior to his current assignment, Sir was the program director at Warwick Business School in UK. A widely traveled academician, Professor Subramanian had been a visiting professor at SDA Bocconi in Italy and ESSEC Business School in Paris. He had also been actively associated with B schools across many universities in Australia. Professor Subramanian completed a doctoral program from IIM Ahmedabad. Other academic roles that he assumed include being the head of the executive programs in Westminster University, UK, and serving as the marketing area chairperson at IIM Ahmedabad. His association with industry over a period of 20 years saw him holding senior level management positions at reputed organizations such as Reader's Digest, DDB Mudra, Kantar Worldwide, and Coca-Cola. The amalgam of corporate experience and academic rigor that he brings to IPE makes us believe that the quintessential man and the quintessential mind has arrived. Incidentally, Professor Subramanian steps into the shoes of a redoubtable individual, Professor R.K. Mishra, whom you all will meet at the valedictory function the day after tomorrow. May I now request Professor Nathan to give his welcome address to the gathering. Sir, please.
Thank you for that very warm introduction, kind introduction, and of course warm, Sinju. I think the difficulty I'm going to have is to try and live up to the sort of words that you used. Let's see. But today, the program is really all about you. I mean, so you are our guests and, of course, our guests here. So before I say anything else, let me, on behalf of all of us in IPE, extend a very, very warm welcome. I know I'm repeating what Professor Narendranath Menon said, but it can't be repeated enough. So it's just reiterating that. We are absolutely delighted that you are here and you have reposed your faith in us. And we promise we will do our utmost to sort of meet, exceed your expectations when you repose your faith in us. Now, before I go on, I, in particular, would like to extend a special welcome to our guests of honor. So, a guest of honor and our chief guest. So, our guest of honor here is Ms. Vanitha Datla. You couldn't have a better guest of honor for a program like this. She's a very successful businesswoman. She's a vice chairperson and a managing director, the managing director of Elico. And at the same time, she's very active in service roles. So she's, for instance, the CII, or the Confederation of Indian Industry, the representative, the head, in fact, for the Hyderabad region. She's also very active in women's affairs, so absolutely, sort of perfect profile for the kind of program you're looking at. And we are really honored that she's actually also going to teach, starting off with probably the most important topic that you are all looking at, which is leadership on this program. Equally, on behalf of IPE, welcome our chief guest, and I was just sharing my internal thought with him just a few minutes ago before we got here. I mean, most people have difficulty successfully managing, even unsuccessfully managing a single career. Now, here in Rear Admiral Sanjay Chaubey, you have a gentleman who's actually very successfully managed 2 careers. So he rose to the highest levels in the Indian Navy, where he was at the level of Rear Admiral. And then once he left that role, eventually he's moved on again. He's the managing director at Electronics Corporation. So he's heading the Electronics Corporation of India, which I think, if I'm not wrong, is about 1,300 crores or so turnover. 1,800. So it's a very large organization. So thank you very much, Professor Ms. Datla and Rear Admiral Chaubey for sparing the time to be with us today and sharing your thoughts with us as well. Now, before I sort of quickly go on to the program and thank you, sort of closing, I'd just like to share a little bit, given the occasion, of the history of IPE, some of which I think you've read in your prospectus already, and Professor Menon has briefly touched upon. So I probably wouldn't repeat all of that, but you do recognize from the prospectus we are one of the oldest business schools in India, having started in 1964. That kind of, it's well before some of the IIMs, in fact. So long history. Early days, we were mostly focused on the public sector and the public services. Till about the 1990s, mostly training IAS officers, IFS officers, and so on. But then once the economy started opening up, we kind of traversed that journey along with the Indian economy and moved into the private sector as well. And then we started the full-time PGDM MBA programs, all AICTE accredited. And today we have a suite of programs, MBA or PGDM, covering a range of specialisms, including marketing, finance, human resources, of course, operations, research, international business, and so on. We also have a long history in MDP, successful history in MDP and executive programs in the conduct of that. As on date, we have conducted well over 1,000 MDP programs or executive programs, covering about, I think, over 50,000 executives. So that's a little bit about our history. We have a nice campus, so enjoy your stay here, walk around, enjoy the infrastructure. I mean, it's not massive, but it's nice, green. You just and then there's also the surrounding area is also quite nice. It's a resort area, Shamirpet, if you like. Now, in terms of rankings, so where does that leave us? I mean, I'm sure some of you are interested in knowing that. Just yesterday, in fact, we got another ranking from Business Standard. And in that ranking, we are 25, all India. Last year, just to share some of the rankings, where we had The Week, we were, I think, 38th. Times B School Survey, we were 25th. Business Today, we were 45th and 11th in the southern zone. So overall, in the rankings, we are doing, I mean, we are not probably the IIMS, but we are sort of doing pretty decent. We're a very well-regarded business school. Now, one of our strengths, I might share with you, which is really relevant for a program like this, because it's an executive development program, which comes across in feedback from past participants as well as students, is our teaching strengths. We have a very strong teaching faculty. And why so? Essentially because we are one of the schools where we are able to sort of bring about a good balance between the academic side of things and practice. And there's a number of us internally with that kind of background, but we also get a lot of external speakers who are experts in their particular fields. So we are therefore able to draw upon contemporary latest theories and concepts from academics, and equally we are able to bring in the real world of practice, if you like. So that sort of is one of our sort of strengths, if you like. Now, coming down to your program today, personally, and I'm sure many of you share that, you couldn't have had a more contemporary and relevant topics. I mean, I think you're really looking at two broad areas there, if you like, So one is diversity in management and the other soft skills. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen this article, which I was reading, I think a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, which is based on a Harvard Business School study. Very interesting article. So what they did is looked at objectively, empirically, which is the hot topic of the day, COVID. Okay, so they looked at the countries that were well managed, that managed the best in terms of COVID, and the countries that managed the worst. Okay, they identified a number of parameters. This is empirical, as I said, and very interestingly, and so, well, it shouldn't be surprising, but it was surprising for a number of people. One of the top parameters was the countries with women leaders did the best. Okay, so New Zealand, I'm sure you've all read how they have really zero, the only country with zero COVID cases in the world. Okay, and they have a pop star leader, Jacinda Ardern. Okay, countries like Germany, Angela Merkel, Norway, Finland, Taiwan, every one of the top countries which have performed the best have women leaders. And the study, the interesting part of the study doesn't end there. Okay, the countries that did the worst were all countries led by the so-called alpha male macho leaders. Now, that's really fascinating. Of course, we all know Trump land, what happened there. And interestingly, it wasn't necessarily related to the medical equipment or the quality of the medical infrastructure, because this is a public health management issue. It's not just about having the best hospitals and the best doctors, but it's about that public health management, and therefore the political side played a big role. And many countries, and unfortunately even the country where I came from, just moved here, this is UK, it was a similar issue. They didn't do too well because, I mean, I'm not passing judgments here. I'm just quoting the study from the Harvard Business School. Okay, they had a macho leader, didn't do too well. Okay, and I think India also falls somewhere in that bucket, unfortunately. So, and then they went further and say, what was the reason? Why did the countries, where they had either female leaders or less macho leaders do better? Because when it comes to public health management, it needs a certain different traits. It needs traits around empathy, around resilience, so teamwork, okay, and the emotional quotient, if you like, EQ, which is this other part of what you're going to look at, soft skills. Okay, so they identified a number of different things, which typically, again, I mean, this is empirically, again, I mean, I keep saying that because it shouldn't be seen as, judgment. The women sort of tend to have better, but they or at least the less alpha male type people tend to sort of do better in that, okay? So it's not, the alpha male tends to have a my way or the highway type approach, if you like. So that was quite eye-opening, quite interesting. So now the reality is, when it comes to women's issue, you have two realities. You have the reality of what is possible, And then you also have the reality of what is actually, of what is real, what is in front of you, okay? So reality of what is possible, this is one example. We also know there are many, many instances of real success in industry, okay? Of course, starting with, of course, Ms. Tatla here, but you have many other examples. You have Indra Nui, I'm sure you've all heard the name, Vinita Bali, Shikha Sharma in your banking industry, in Axis Bank. I mean, there are many names like Kiran Mazumdar Shah, etc., okay? So that is the reality of what is possible. But equally, we know the reality of, as you face today, there's still a long journey to be covered. I mean, if you look at, therefore, is it all, milk and roses? No, unfortunately, we know that's not true. There is still a lot of gender discrimination. There's still a lot of gender disparity, particularly in India, but more all over the world. I mean, violence and crime and, lack of access to education, all sorts of issues. Now, in India, for instance, we are 113 on 113 out of 135 countries on the Gender Gap Index, DGI is what it's called, as published by the WEF or World Economic Forum. Not good at all, not good at all, okay? So which means you still have the divide, we are progressing in the right direction, but there's still a long distance to cover. Okay, so this, I guess, I'm hoping a program like this will sort of, sensitize. You're not the ones who need to be sensitized. It's people like us who need to be sensitized. But it at least opens up the possibilities. How do you tackle some of those issues and so on? So, and sort of, hopefully a program like this will sort of take another step in the positive direction. Soft skills, again, I think we all know, I mean, you're all from the industry, from different sectors, but as we know, I mean, we recognize, I mean, particularly in the early stage of my career, and I'm sure you probably thought about it as well, we often think the most intelligent person climbs climbs to the top. But that's not necessarily the case, as we know. I mean, it's a number of other factors, and I mean, it's also one of my favorite things. Where if Einstein were to be working in an industry, he would end up sitting in a warehouse because you need a lot of other skills. I don't know how much you know about his. I'm sure you do. His history. He actually failed the Swiss civil service, and that's how he went to the U.S. So because he was a failed civil service servant, we ended up getting a Nobel Prize winner. Otherwise, he must, if he had cleared, he would have become a bureaucrat in Switzerland, and that would have been the end of his story, okay? So I'm just mentioning because he failed in subjects like history and social sciences and couldn't clear it. So again, I know I sort of just mentioned Harvard, but this goes back 20 years, a very interesting study again from Harvard, where they actually looked at a correlation between IQ and this progression in industry. And interestingly, again, their study, which is quite, it was a lot of media it generated because it's quite, not controversial, but it was contrary to one's thinking. What it showed was there was a reasonable positive correlation between IQ and progression up to about middle management. But this was a HBR study. But after middle management up to senior management, which is incredible, they actually found a slight negative correlation. And then again, of course, then you go back and look at it qualitatively. Why does this happen? And then one of the things that it revealed is when people become too intelligent, they often end up, not always, but very often you become overthinking, over-analytical, and you sort of lose your gut feel because you want to go always by data, and you are sort of thinking person as against you start, you compensate, and therefore your soft skills start getting compromised, if you like, okay, which obviously become much more important when you're going from particularly middle management to higher management, okay, your teamwork, your leadership, which Ms. Datla is going to talk about, your EQ, in effect, emotional quotient. So I think what's really good is this program is going to be talking about some of those very things, okay? You've got topics like nuts on leadership, you've got topics like nuts and bolts of corporate governance, conflict management, counseling skills, okay, mentoring, and of course the emotional intelligence and so on, okay, and listening skills, okay. So hopefully this program will sort of address the very things that you potentially need to sort of further in your career. And we have excellent colleagues, Professor Narendranath Menon and Dr. Sinju Sankha. who, I mean, I feel honored to work amongst them. They're specialists in this area. And they've put together a number of external speakers as well who are specialists in that particular area, starting, of course, with Ms. Datla today. Okay, so we hope and are confident that you will be able to, so you have a really good learning experience from this program, and as I said before, that we will be able to meet your expectations. Thank you all for being here today.
An eye-opener to us, and it is true that women power is pretty significant. You're absolutely right. COVID is pretty low in those countries where we have women leaders. Now, what I shall not do is talk about Mrs. Vanitha Datla at length. I will reserve that for another 20 minutes. But what I shall do now is I will request the Vice Chairperson and the Managing Director of ELICO, Mrs. Vanitha Datla, to make a brief presentation to the audience. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's really nice to see a hall filled with women, especially at a level in their career when they can actually make a difference, not only to themselves, but to people around them. And I would like to actually congratulate the IPE, management, and of course, the head of this institution for looking out for such programs. Unfortunately, the women that are in this present room are a part of a very minuscule percentage that have certain privileges. Unfortunately, as Professor Subramaniam had said, there are millions and millions who are not given these privileges, who are oppressed, and who are fighting every day for their place in this world. And unless women like us, when we come to certain levels, we are able to bring about that change in society, in our culture, and we push down those old myths and those old practices that are bound by tradition, that sometimes we also unconsciously propaganda or promote, unknowing as to what that impact would be on the next generation. Unless we come out of that shell, and unless we come out and do our bit for society, we will not go forward. So as the professor told, I will be sharing a lot of statistics in my talk post this inaugural session, and I will bring to you the light of what exactly is happening today in the world, whether it is in industry, whether it is in society, whether it is in politics. In every sphere in this world today, we are facing this discrimination. And there are very, very few male champions who actually promote and who propagate, who actually welcome women to walk hand in hand or shoulder to shoulder to them. It's not that we want to demean the other gender and be ahead of them. We just want our rightful place. And these sort of programs should help bring about this awareness. So kudos to the entire team at IPE for giving me an opportunity. And this is my first physical entry to these sort of events post the COVID. Pre-COVID, I think March 23rd was the first lockdown, the Janata lockdown that we had. Up to 22nd, I was traveling all around the country. I was talking, because March is normally the International Women's Day. And everybody then wakes up and looks at certain women to call them to come and speak a few words. It sort of becomes, chalo, it's March, let's get one lady to talk, to deliver, and then we tick the bucket, we tick the box. But sometimes that is not correct. And unless institutions, unless corporations understand that this is just not one day in a year that we pay obeisance to women or to the value that women bring to us, but do it 365 days throughout our lifetimes, throughout our careers. Only such corporations, such institutions, such societies, such nations will prosper. And thank you so much, sir, for inviting me. Thank you so much for considering me to be part of this program today. And to start off on the note of leadership, which I will talk about a little later. Thank you again for considering me to be a part of this inaugural ceremony. And it's very nice to also meet the Rear Admiral. I'm not sure, sir, if you realize, but ELICO and ECIL have competed on many cases, because there is one division which makes analytical instrumentation, and ELICO is also a founder, a pioneer in that domain. So we have been competing, but it is very nice to sit side by side on a panel, to be guests of honor on a program like this. So we want male champions like all of you, all the men here today, to help us to win this battle. So thank you, all of you, and let's have a wonderful session.
Thank you very much, Madam. As I promised, I would speak about Madam after some time. After going through what she had sent to me, I asked myself, man, you're 70 years old, what have you done? That's a question which I posed to myself, but I'll come to that after a while. May I now request my colleague, Dr. Sinju Shankar, to introduce the chief guest of the morning, Rear Admiral Sanjay Chobe.
Thank you, sir. May I now introduce the chief guest of the day, Rear Admiral Sanjay Chobe, is the Chairman and Managing Director of Electronics Corporation of India Limited, ECIL in short, since July 2018. Prior to this, he was holding the position of Director, Technical. He's a graduate in Electrical Engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, and a postgraduate in Communication Engineering from the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. He was with the Indian Navy for more than 3 decades and actively involved with the commissioning of electrical, electronic, and control systems in the frontline warships. During his long career with the Navy, he was associated with formulating apex-level policies, indigenous technology, development through R&D centers, setting up infrastructure for life cycle support systems, quality assurance processes, and ecosystem for supply of defense electronic equipment. Trained in contemporary international technologies, he has successfully handled assignments in Russia and Italy. He was associated with projects of strategic importance for the nation and worked closely with ECIL for simulators, complex mechanical systems, sensors, radiation detection systems, control, and instrumentation systems. Sir, thank you very much for being with us. It was a pleasure meeting you in person. May I now request you to please address the gathering.
So, Professor Nathan Subramaniam, Madam Vinita, the participants in this conference come program. It's indeed a great honor and privilege for me to be with you all here this morning. And let me just go back a couple of days. So when I first got this request to attend this, I could not say no for a couple of reasons. Because one is, of course, I'm very closely associated with IP. I've been in Hyderabad only for 2 years. I was in the Navy earlier than this. So anything which comes from IP, it is very difficult to refuse. That is my association with this organization. But the main reason why I said I will definitely come, no matter what happens, is because this is indeed a historic moment. Why? Because women executives from across the nation have taken this challenge to travel in difficult times. They have broken the barrier. So I have to do just a little. I have to travel only from what is known as ECIL circle to this place, which is 5 kilometers. You all have come from all over the country. How can I not come and be with you? So thank you very much for coming to Hyderabad in these difficult times. I'm sure you will enjoy Hyderabad. When I was a kid, I was very, very fascinated with Hyderabad, reading that poem of Sarojini Naidu in the bazaars of Hyderabad. It was part of our curriculum in ICSE. Beautiful city. Many of you may be visiting first time. Now coming back to this conference, let me, the topic diversity in gender, diversity, all diversity in general, we'll talk about it. But I'll just go back to my college days. So I'm from NIT Rourkela. I'm an electrical and electronics engineer. So when we talk about all this, a couple of days back, we had the very good news. I was NIT Rourkela. Why? Because my father was in the public sector, Rourkela Steel Plant. I was born and brought up there. Although I'm from Banaras originally, I've never stayed there. So why I'm talking about this is because from that place and from my institute, so Rourkela, I owe everything to it. Rourkela Steel Plant, part of SAIL. Today, the chairperson of SAIL is Ms. Soma Mandal. She was 1 year my senior in NIT Rourkela. So we were together. She is also an electrical engineer. She has broken many barriers. She is an electrical engineer who's become chairman of SAIL. Unheard of. My father is a metallurgist. He also was in a very senior position there. So he cannot believe that a metallurgist is not the chairman of SAIL. And she is a woman. So sky is the limit. It is for you to decide how you will reach there. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you if you want. So that's why I mentioned about this. It's a very proud moment for me to see a colleague of mine sitting as a chairperson of a Maharatna. So talking about diversity, yesterday I'm sure you all, I'm not very sure, but I'm sure you all must have participated in this great evening or great day that Indian cricket had, when we all felt nice. Whether we play cricket or we don't play cricket, we all felt nice, didn't we? We did. Okay. Today morning I was wanting to see the newspaper. So for the first thing when the newspaper came, before it went to my dad's hand, I saw it. I saw the headlines, front page. Solely cricket. We've forgotten about pandemic, we've forgotten about vaccines, we've forgotten about the farmers' protest. Nothing is there in the front page. What is there in the front page? We have done it. We have done it. Why I'm talking about it? Again, because it is related to diversity. Even before this happened, yesterday, you know, this social media is so active. A colleague of mine has already started sending messages. And what is the message? He says, turn around. I looked at it as diversity. 7 of the players who are there come from such humble backgrounds. That is diversity. We gave opportunity. The country gave opportunity to those people. If you are interested in statistics, I am not, but madam will talk about it. She said, all 5 bowlers of India put together had 11 wickets between them prior to this match. The Australians had 5 bowlers who had more than 1,000 wickets between them. Yet we beat them hollow. So diversity helped us. People from Hyderabad, young boys from Hyderabad, such humble background, from Delhi, from Punjab, from UP, from Tamil Nadu, they all came together. Diversity. Okay, so it's a question of giving opportunity. Rest will happen, and diversity has strengths. There's no doubt about it. Unity in diversity is what we all think about always. With diversity, I would also like to say an important thing that we must consider is inclusion, because without inclusion, nothing will happen. So if I do not feel safe in my organization, if I'm always worried about my own safety, I'll not be able to deliver whatever I'm capable of. If the organization is not fair to me, obviously I will have no reason to work in my organization or deliver the best that I can. So I'm being stifled. So what I feel is people, the leadership should provide inclusion in addition to diversity. And if inclusion and diversity are there together, there is no stopping an organization. So thereafter, all these figures of how many women are in the leadership roles, or who's heading Fortune 500 company, it is 6% or 10%, or it has grown 7% year on year, will become irrelevant. So we have to enable, and like rightly the madam said, we all have this very important task to ensure that nearly 50% of our population is enabled to the extent that they will contribute to the society in measures which should be much more than what they are doing today. They are doing a wonderful job. We all know that, but they can do much, much more, provided we enable them to realize their full potentials. So the important thing is for us to enable you, and I'm extremely happy to note that the program that we are having here today is one such baby step in that direction. There are many more steps that we'll have to take, but every time we do this, we must realize the purpose of it, the long-term perspective of it, is to ensure that every single women executive is enabled to realize her full potential in a manner in which she feels secure and she feels that she has been given her due. So in addition to inclusion, I would also like to highlight that diversity in age is also important. The young generation today also must be respected for what they are, and without taking them into the organization. I see two of them here. I interacted with them in the morning. It is so nice to see. The organization will not be able to achieve or fulfill its objectives. So I mean, I was talking to my colleagues. These days we have the social media, so a lot of time was there during the lockdown. So we are just catching up on our batch of 85, we call batch of 85 when we passed out. So our batch had 4 girls, and all 4 had dropped out after a couple of years, starting brilliantly. They dropped out after about 8 to 12 years. And so we were asking them, and they said pressure of home and this. So this dropping out after a couple of years is not a very healthy sign. And so we spoke at length, and they said, yes, this is how it is. But then we are thinking of how to bring them back at whatever point in time they decide that they should come back. So I think that is another issue that we must address. Okay, taking a break is nothing wrong. There are priorities. So fine, we respect those priorities, but they should come back into the system whenever they are ready. So I think there are some programs there, sir. You may, I was reading in the, ma'am maybe knowing, there was this initiative where our Minister for IT in Telangana was inaugurating some function where there's a collaboration between Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, V-Hub of Telangana and I-Hub of Gujarat. They are getting together. I really like that concept. So this whole program is about empowering or enabling the women, not only at top leadership positions, but at grassroots level. So in the villages, and the ideas which are coming out of that, it is worth visiting that site. I was not aware. I just came to know about it a month back. It is really amazing how women in the grassroots level also get enabled by such programs. So these are all good initiatives that the government is taking. Everyone recognizes that if the 50% of our population is not enabled and provided the right place in the society, as a country, we will always be lacking in our ambitions to be a global player. So make best use of this opportunity that is there. I hope after a couple of years we'll meet somewhere, you as chairperson, I as a retired person. I'll still claim to be young, 70-year-old person like Professor Menon just mentioned, but I'll be very happy to see many of you as chairpersons of your organization. With that note, thank you very much. I generally don't speak, I cannot speak, I'm not trained to speak. I'm a sailor. My job is to steer ships. But Professor Menon said, we heard you speak very well, so we have given you a lot of time. I said, my wife says I don't speak. And my daughter, to top it all, said, oh, you are going to speak and bore them in the morning itself, is it? So please be short and crisp and take some ideas from me. Said, okay, send it to me on WhatsApp. So I got up in the morning, nothing is there from. So that is the generation which gives a lot of ideas, but when you ask something concrete, nothing comes. So on that note, thank you very much, sir, for inviting me here. I feel honored and privileged. I had some important commitments, but after hearing Madam, I'm going to sit back and listen to Madam and then only leave at 12:30. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I feel very humbled and I also feel very proud to be with you all here this morning. God bless you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It is interesting listening to you, and I'm glad that you're going to remain here to listen to Madam. I must tell you something about leadership. Both those people are outstanding leaders, and I'll tell you right now why. Look at sir. He is telling us that he is going to remain here and listen to Madam and then leave. Tell me how many CMDs would do that? Next thing, he came on his own. I asked his office, he said, no transport, no nothing. I spoke to Madam about 10 days ago. And I told Madam, should I remind you one day before that? Should I send you some transport? Oh no, don't send any transport. No need to remind me. Am I right, Madam? Now tell me how many, this is what you have to learn. We learn so many things, we read so many things. We have got to understand from examples, living examples, flesh and blood, right in front of your eyes. Sir, I enjoyed listening to what you had to say. You can't blame the newspapers for putting cricket over there because that is the religion in India. Cricket is the religion of India. So we have all those things. You're absolutely right. We have diversity in the steel sector, diversity in the sports arena, diversity in the business. Even the Punjab National Bank, about half the participants, perhaps a little more, are from Punjab National Bank. And the chairperson, Usha Ananta Subramanian, she had come to our institute 4 years ago. What she told us was, I wish I was about 22 or 23 years old so that I could get the benefit of this infrastructure. So thank you very much, sir. We get to the serious side of the problem, the activity over here. We will request Sinju Shankar to announce the first awardee. We have 4 awardees. We will go through that. We'll try to run through it as fast as possible and then listen to Madam.
The first awardee is Ms. Aarti Mattu, and due to her prior commitments, she is not being able to be with us today. But I'd like to definitely read out her profile to you all. Ms. Aarti Mattu is a career banker with over 33 years experience across a broad spectrum of banking activities, a postgraduate in economics and a certified associate of the Indian Institute of Bankers. Ms. Mattu started her banking career as an economic officer in 1987. Presently, she is the Chief General Manager in Punjab National Bank. Over the years, her exposure to diverse areas in banking such as planning, treasury, finance, and audit has resulted in she securing considerable experience and learning that in turn has helped her scale the corporate ladder and assume more challenging responsibilities. Little wonder then that she has headed exceptionally large branches of PNB and was at the helm of affairs at the Circle office. Her commendable achievements include ensuring a seamless integration of the Oriental Bank of Commerce with PNB and leading a fund mobilization campaign in early 2019, which resulted in mobilization of considerable sums for the bank. Steps initiated by her resulted in the bank being recognized as the best performing public sector bank. The alumni of Delhi School of Economics and Miranda House, Delhi University. She is a certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers. Ms. Aarti Mattu has been a speaker at several institutes including IMT Ghaziabad, Amity College Noida, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi, and International Management Institute, Delhi, etc. So since she is not there, so in her absence, may I now request Ms. Rachna Prasad to step forward and receive the IP Award for Excellence from our chief guest, Rear Admiral Sanjay Chaubeji. Thank you, Ms. Rachna.
Now, the next awardee is a graduate in Electronics and Communication Engineering from JNTU Anantapur and has 37 years of experience at the Strategic Electronics Research and Design Center of HAL. Over the years, she has dealt with systems integration and testing on fighter aircrafts, helicopters, naval ships, and submarines of the Indian Defence Forces. She has closely worked with engineers and technical experts from Russia on indigenous avionics for MiG-BIS upgrade program and the Sukhoi 30 program. The welter of experience and knowledge that she brings to heightening the capabilities of HAL include technical knowledge of avionic design, system requirement analysis, system integration, verification and validation. Critical inputs provided by a team under her stewardship have made for crucial customer support and decision making. Presently, she is heading SLRDC, Radar and Communication Departments, where a team under her leadership is involved in a multitude of activities, including design and development of communication systems, data link systems, sense and avoidance identification systems, very high frequency navigation, missile electronics, and air data centers. Her technical mastery has resulted in she being awarded the Indigenization of Aeronautical Equipment Award for pioneering work in system design by Aeronautical Society of India in 2012. In 2016, the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, New Delhi, had, in recognition of her contribution to the avionics design under the Made in India category, conferred the Sri Devi Singh Tyagi Memorial Award. And more recently, in 2017, SCOPE, that is the Standing Conference on Public Enterprises, has adjudicated and adjudged her as the best women employee in the public sector. Now, despite the challenging task that she shoulders, she finds time for gardening and Carnatic music, and more importantly, be humane, as is evidenced by her contribution to charities. Ladies and the few gentlemen who are present over here, join me in welcoming and applauding the Chief Designer of HAL, Padma Priya. Madam, please come over. And kindly.
Many congratulations, madam. The next winner of IP's Award for Women of Excellence is Ms. Shika Sharma, a graduate in science with an additional graduate degree in education. Ms. Sharma is also a certified associate of the Indian Institute of Bankers. She started her career in the bank as a management trainee in 1983. Presently, Ms. Shika Sharma is a general manager heading the Learning and Knowledge Management Center of India's second largest public sector bank. That the bank places considerable emphasis on learning and development is amply evident from the turnout of PNB employees to this program. Ms. Shika Sharma was the head of the branch that obtained the Best Branch Award in the years 1991 and 92. An individual with proficiency in retail banking and expertise in foreign exchange, Ms. Sharma was a member of a working group of uniform training structure for all the public sector banks at the induction level. Training that she underwent at IIM Ahmedabad and at SBIL in Kolkata have served her in good stead in stewarding the bank to greater heights. May I now call upon Ms. Deepanvita Datta to receive the award on behalf of Ms. Shika Sharma.
Yeah, fine. I did promise some time back that I will tell you something about Mrs. Vanita Datla. Time has come now, so I will tell you something. Mrs. Vanita Datla is the Vice Chairperson and Managing Director of Elico Limited, an organization whose expertise is innovating to connect science with lab. She is also the Managing Director of Elico Healthcare Services Limited, an organization that is a preferred service provider to clients in the healthcare industry across USA, UK, Canada, and the Middle East. Over the last 2.5 decades, Mrs. Vanitha has acquired experience across diverse sectors such as financial services, insurance services, cement, power, security printing, instrumentation, and BPO services, which extends both in America as well as in India. On the academic front, after completing her graduation from St. Francis College for Women in Hyderabad, Mrs. Vanitha pursued a postgraduate program in business management at IBS and thereafter qualified to become a chartered financial analyst from ICFI Hyderabad. She has had an outstanding scholastic record and had secured a place on the Dean's Honor Roll for achieving a perfect 4.0 GPA in 3 consecutive semesters while pursuing her undergraduate study at Wichita State University in USA. Is that correct? Wichita? Right. Wichita. Now, her association with academic institutes include, she is serving as a member of the Executive Council, Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Kakinada, and member of the governing body, Andhra Mahila Sabha School of Informatics, Osmania University. On the corporate front, Mrs. Vanitha serves as an independent director of Vishaka Industries and Srinivasa Farms Private Limited. She was the chairperson of the Confederation of Indian Industry, Telangana, during the years 14-15, 15-16. A frequent speaker at various professional and academic forums, Vanitha is passionate about women empowerment and contributing positively to women's issues. An avid fitness person, she has participated in numerous 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers, and 200 kilometers bicycle events, and an equally large number of marathons. Hey, reserve it for a second, right. Reserve it for a second. And an equally large number of marathons. When you clap lustily at that time, don't make it feeble, right? And an equal number of marathons, half marathons, and walkathons. Her passion for travel, trekking, and adventure sports has seen her visiting more than 50 countries. Playing the veena and piano and excelling in classical Carnatic vocals are some of the other skills of Mrs. Vanitha Datla. She is the recipient of the Exceptional Leaders of Excellence Award conferred by the Women Economic Forum, Bangalore, Business Achiever Award for Excellence conferred by Andhra Chamber of Commerce, Chennai, and Outstanding Women Award conferred by Nizam Club, Hyderabad. I am sure everyone in the audience, to a man, would agree that Mrs. Vanitha Datla is richly deserving of the award that IPE is privileged to confer on her as an outstanding business leader of our times. May I request you, madam, to receive the award from the Rear Admiral sir. Clap a little more, some more. Sinju Shankar to propose a vote of thanks. So shall we have the next part of the program asking madam to talk and then we go for tea? Sinju will propose a vote of thanks and I request all of you to continue to be here. We will listen to madam and after that we'll go for the break, photograph and so on.
Respected and our most distinguished chief guest of the day, Rear Admiral Sanjay Chaubeji. Respected guest of honor, Madam Vanitha Datla ji. Our beloved director, Professor Nathan Subramanian ji. Participants from various organizations, students, colleagues, and a warm welcome to you all, which we had. Nice to meet you yesterday or since yesterday onwards. So here, it's a great privilege for me to express a warm and sincere thanks on behalf of IPE and all of us here today to Rear Admiral Sanjay Chaubeji for his stimulating and timely remarks and for his gracious participation in this inaugural session. I'm sure the participants have been highly benefited by your speech, sir. The guest of honor, Ms. Vanitha Datla ji. Ma'am, your presence today here itself has been an invaluable support to us. Thank you very much. We eagerly look forward for your session on leadership today. And of course, the central force of support behind all the activities of IP, Professor Nathan Subramanian, Director, IP. Thank you, sir, for chairing the inaugural and your very interesting and thought-provoking address. I would like to congratulate the award winners for their excellence in their field. Thank you one and all for taking the time to be a part of this conference. It really means a lot to us. Last but not the least at all, I thank all the participants for their presence here, taking time out of their busy schedule. I do agree that you have got a lot of work at your workplaces and at home too. And as such, we bring all of you together. We hope that these 3 days would be fruitful in exchange of knowledge and ideas and the relations that will be formed. May I now request you all to join us in listening to Madam Datlerji for the session that would continue just now. Thank you very much.